My edit. So in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to create a high contrast black and white seascape. So this is a really simple and easy process, and it can give you some really dramatic looks, as you can see here, the before and after. It's one of my favorite ways of editing. I really love this high contrast, really punchy shots. So I'm going to reset and walk you through the stages. Like I said, it's a really simple and easy process. You don't need to do a lot of adjustments on this. It's just knowing which ones to adjust, which settings to adjust. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is turn the image to black and white. And that just means now that we can look at this and just look at the tones that's in there. It actually looks quite nice as it is as a black and white as well. But like I said, it's you know, to add a little bit more impact, it's really nice just to boost this contrast up. So what we're going to do then, the first thing we're going to do is obviously come to the contrast. I'm going to push this right up as far as I can go without kind of starting to lose too much detail within the image. So I reckon it's about plus 80 on this particular image, but depending on what yours is, it may vary. So just keep an eye on that, but anywhere between 80 and 90 will probably fit just right. So the highlights, we're actually going to push them right up as well. So I'm going to push them up to around plus 50. So we're just going to make sure that we've got lots and lots of white in this because that's what's going to help us have contrast. So when it comes to the shadows, we want to bring them right down. So we want to darken them. So we're going to go around 70. I think it's a good starting point. And again, depending on your image, you may want to go minus 80, minus 60. It really depends on the light that you've got in the shot. So the whites, we're now going to pull these whites down. And I'm probably going to go around to yeah, about minus 80, 81 around there. So what that's doing is just pulling them whites and making them a lot darker. And because we pulled the highlights up, we can now do that. So it's a counter edit there, as you can see. And then the blacks, we're going to make them as dark as possible. So I'm going to just bring these right down. I'm probably going to go minus 100, I would say, yeah. About minus 100, just to really punch out them blacks and make them really dark. So once we've done that, we can then use the tone curve to help us with contrast. So let's come to the tone curve here, and you have a couple of options here. You can add contrast there just by selecting strong contrast or linear. You've also got this option here where you click on the first adjustment there, and you can move these sliders, but I prefer doing it myself so we can click these points and get exactly what we want. So I'm going to make a point here up in the whites just to isolate them. I'm going to make another point around here, here, and here as well. So what we're doing is we've isolated the whites up there, so when we make adjustments in the grey areas, then they're not going to be affected, and also in the black areas there. So I'm going to move this grey area just further along here, and I'm going to just tweak this curve here, this adjustment on the curve rather. I just want a slight bend here because that's what's going to give us a high contrasting image. Now we have to be careful with this selection here because we want to try and make that as smooth as possible with regards to as it comes down, as it curves that way, we want it to curve back in. So let's come down to the blacks here and just pull them down, and that's just going to help smooth things off a little bit for us. Again, depending on your image will depend on, you know, how much contrast you want, but it's just isolating these areas here, so the blacks and the greys. But that's looking pretty good to me. We could maybe push that up slightly just to brighten it a little bit. That looks quite good. So let's have a look at the texture and clarity as well, because I think that's going to help just separate some of the texture of the sea up against the lighthouse. So again, we can push this up quite high. I'd say around plus 20 on each actually, That's quite nice, but again, depending on your image, you might want to change that slightly. I'm also going to put the dehaze up as well, because that again is going to help us just darken that image. It's going to take that haze away. If I reset that, you can see what that does. So it makes it again a little bit darker and a little bit more moody, which is kind of what I want. So after we've done that, then let's come to the colors, and let's manipulate these, because obviously we have a lot of aqua, a lot of blue in here as well. So we can really kind of target them two colors and again just bring them down a little bit. So let's come to the aqua to start with, -40, and the blue, let's pull that right down as well. So -40, that's looking quite nice. And then let's scroll down and let's add some noise reduction, because within the image we've been messing around a lot. So let's push this up to around +30, I would say, on this particular image, and again +30 in the color as well, because we have been pushing them and manipulating them colors a little bit. We've kind of stripped a lot out, haven't we? We could even come to the orange as well and just take that down a little bit. There's not a lot of orange in there, but there is a little bit. Can you see? It's just around, especially around here. You can see there that's having a little bit of an effect. So I'd say -30, something like that. That's quite good. Okay, so let's go up to the color temperature, and what we can do now is just increase this color temperature towards the yellow, so just make it a little bit brighter. And what that's going to do is just make everything pop and come back to life a little bit. So you can see there it almost acts like an exposure setting. So I leave this till last, just because I know that I can come up here and just really tweak it and fine tune it. So I'm going to go around +40, I would say, and then we can come back down here and just tweak these as well. So if we wanted a little bit more contrast, we could, but I think as they were, I think they were okay around +50. So that's pretty much the actual editing side of anything that we need to kind of do in here. There's nothing else that we need to do. The other thing that we could do is just do some local adjustments now. So using the brush tool, come to the exposure. I'm going to make sure that the feather is really high, the flow and density are down, and the auto mask is selected. And I'm just going to come down to the bottom here, show selective mask overlay, and I'm just going to paint in just on this far side of the lighthouse here, because even though we've made it black, I just want to pull a little bit of detail back out, just a smidgen of detail. So take that mask off and let's just increase that exposure a little bit to around there. I think that's quite good, and that's it. It's as simple as that. We could, with this particular image, we could crop it in up to potentially even there, but I think maybe just getting some rid of the bottom of the sea there, that's actually quite nice. It's now a bit more square, and I think that works better with that wave coming up. So let's have a look at the before and after then. So you can see there, you know, it does work as a color, but it works extremely well as a black and white image. And this image had was shot at a quite high ISO, so there is grain noise, so to speak, within that image. So I think that adds a little bit more drama to it. If you don't have a lot of grain or noise within your image, then you can certainly add it in afterwards, just so you can you know, create that kind of that more grungy look, so to speak. And it can really help just bring it out a little bit. So just come down to the effects panel, and where you've got grain here, you can increase that, the size of the grain, and then the roughness of the grain. So, you know, just put in just enough, not so much that it starts overpowering the image with this particular one, because it already has quite a lot of noise within it, or grain. Then it only needs a smidgen of each. In fact, I'd probably bring that size down and the roughness down a little bit more. There we go. So that's quite nice, and it just binds the whole image together. So I hope you've enjoyed that. So that's how you create this really dramatic contrasting black and white seascapes. Look forward to seeing your images and how you use this particular edit. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.